You guys know that the Simplicity McCall's and KnowMe patterns just dropped. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you those Simplicity Spring 2024 pattern that just dropped. Now, it's a decent collection. I'll be picking up a few and I'll share that with you. So if that's some content you would like to see, please continue to watch. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Rochelle from Rochelle.Handmade.Designs, and in this video I'll be sharing with you guys the Simplicity 2024 Spring Drop. Now it's a decent collection, I must say, and I'm always excited about the spring summer collection because I can make more of those patterns than your normal typical fall and winter patterns for the climate that I live in. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. Hello, Ciao, Guten, Aloha, Hola, Konnichiwa, Gwaan, Sabonani, Shalom, Bonjour, Terve. If you are returning, please go and get your snacks, something to drink, come on back. You could grab your notebooks, but I'm going to definitely say you could also head over to simplicity.com so you can see these patterns as well. So without further ado, to keep this video short, sweet, give you all the deets and the news that you can use on this video, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so they decided to pick some more vintage patterns from the collection, and I will say that every last vintage pattern I am passing up on. Now, if you want to see, I'm not a vintage girly in terms of buying all the vintage patterns, but I did do a vintage series last year in November called Vintage Vember. So there were two patterns in this collection that look like one of the patterns that I mentioned during my series that I did, like some patterns. I think I did like 70 patterns that are vintage patterns that you can sew up doing Vintage Vember. So I'll drop the link in the description box below, as well as on the end screen if you are interested in seeing all the patterns that I featured there. Two of the patterns in this collection looks exactly the same. So just go to that video and you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the first pattern, which is Simplicity 9913. Now this pattern is just a vintage 1950s dress. It's a one-piece dress. Now for this one, it has one view. So what this is basically the collar and bodice of this dress is sleeveless and have like a cut in one. So the bodice have a lap front closing above the center front seam and collar is tapered at the center back. So on the skirt, it features patch pockets, trim, flared skirt, and then it says view 1 has like a braided trim, and then view 2 have top stitching on the pockets and button the skirt. Buttons to the skirt. Now this is mentioned as an authentic vintage reproduction pattern. It's rated as easy to sew for this pattern too, but I don't know about that. But to each his own, do what you feel, all right? Let's talk about sizing. So in terms of sizing for this pattern, it's 2 envelopes, 6 to 14, and then 16 to 24 on the second envelope. Let's talk. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not going to put up the back of the pattern envelope to keep this video short when it's time to edit. But basically, for majority of these patterns, you can use any type of medium woven fabric. Your chambrays, your linens, your cotton blend, your chambray. You can use most of those fabrics for majority of the patterns that I will be showing you. So to cut, I'll tell you the fabrics, but I will not be putting the back of the pattern envelope up on the screen in terms of this video because it's a lot of patterns to cut down on the editing process. All right, so let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern, which is 9914. So in terms of 9914, this is the beach cover up and robe pattern. This is the 1960s vintage beach cover up and robe. So for this one, it has several different views. It has a total of 6 views for this pattern. Now, this is a pattern that I will definitely be skipping. So what this pattern is, it's a collarless and above the knee length beach cover up or robe. It has slightly lowered round neckline, a low raglan sleeve, which gathers into like an elastic casing, forming that self ruffle, and optional patch pockets. Now view 1, 2, and 3, it has the front button closure. They have optional rick rack trim as well. And then in terms of view 4, 5, and 6, it have the optional embroidered eyelid edge trim and has front gathered to the yoke with a button closure. This is another pattern that is an authentic vintage reproduction pattern as well. Let's talk about sizing. So in terms of sizing for this pattern, it comes in 2 envelopes. It comes in 1 envelope, and that envelope is small to large. So this pattern doesn't seem to be size inclusive, but looking at the back of the envelope, it states that in terms of like the body measurement, it goes from 31.5 to a size 40. Now, it's not finished garment measurements, that's just body measurements, which only gives a range of 8.5 inches. So with that being said, for our plus girlies, it may not be the pattern for you, but if you are okay with sizing up or getting a pattern that's similar, that may work for you. All right. So let's talk about fabric. So in terms of fabric, like I mentioned, any type of woven fabrics, cotton, canvas, DOS Swiss, duck, just to name a few, linen, poplin, just to name a few of the fabrics that you can use for this pattern. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern for this one is 9915, another authentic vintage pattern. This is a 1960s vintage pattern. It's an easy to sew pattern. And what this pattern states, it has 2 separate views. So view 1 is kind of like a dress, and then view 2 is a top and dress. But it looks like the same exact thing, to be honest with you. You can make it as a dress by attaching the top and the skirt, or you can make it just kind of like separates, all right? So let's get into the pattern. It's an easy to sew pattern, by the way. This has dress in view 1 and over blouse, which is in view 2, which features the high round neckline, front yoke with a slit, opening at the center back edge, neck edge, and then below elbow length Komodo style sleeves. And it also features a back zipper closure. Now for this pattern, view 1 has like the slightly curved self fabric belt that you see in the back, which buttons to the side front. So it's a button that have the side front if you're looking at the front of the pattern. And then view 2, which is the top, it has separating zipper in the back, a slim skirt, dart, which is fitted at the waistline and has a left side zipper closure. So once again, this is a authentic vintage reproduction pattern. Let's talk about sizing. So in terms of sizing for this pattern, 2 envelopes, 8 to 16, and then 18 to 26 on this pattern. Fabric, same options as well. Any type of medium woven fabrics will be what you can use for this pattern. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So for the next pattern, it's 9916, which is a mixed dress in 2 length. So this one is another vintage, authentic vintage reproduction pattern as well. It is a 1960s pattern. It's rated as easy to sew. So for this one, it's a line dress with a side zipper, which have that pleated 1 shoulder over, which is a self fabric bow that have like some draping going on at that bow. Now there's 2 views. View 1 is the ankle length view with the left side slit. And then view 2 is the dress, which is like a regular length dress, which I feel that it would be pretty much to your knees, right? In terms of sizing, so for this pattern, it's rated as, for this pattern, it's 2 pattern envelopes, 6 to 14, and then 16 to 24 on the second envelope. In terms of fabric for this one, same deal, any type of medium weight woven fabrics is what I would suggest. Brocade, cottons, crepe, linen, satin, silky prints, just to name a few of those fabrics that you can use. One thing I will mention is this pattern does remind me of, I think it's 9820 that came out last year in the fall, I think is what it is. Now, it did not have that bow on the side, but the round neckline kind of remind me of that pattern. I'll put it up on the screen so you're able to see that. I'm not saying that it's similar. It's reminds me of that pattern, but it's not like the exact same pattern. All right. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. So the next pattern is Mimi G's pattern 9917. And this is just a missus dress and belt pattern. It's rated as average to sew. Now, this Mimi G pattern is a full skirt belted dress in 2 lengths. It have the square neckline, can be strapless or with straps, side seam pockets, and an invisible back zipper. Now, view A, which is the strapless view, you will need some boning for that view, but I think you're gonna need boning for both views, no matter which one that you do. So let's talk about this pattern. So when Mimi G first featured this pattern, the first thing that came to my head was her pattern Simplicity 9597. However, another pattern that came to my mind when I seen this pattern was also Brittany J. Jones' pattern, KnowMe 2040. So I think this is a mixture of the two, but one thing that I will say, the reason why I will be picking up this pattern 9917 is because I think when she did the 9597, she listened to her audience, which is us, who not a fan of a lot of back out or cutout. So she featured this pattern as a closed back. So I could appreciate that for sure. So if you have the other ones, you have not done 9597 or Brittany J. Jones pattern KnowMe 2040, you can get this pattern and then still get the same features for sure. And if you want to just kind of like do this bodice and do the pants, you can do that as well and just make a hat. All right. But this is 9917. Let's go ahead and talk about the sizing for the pattern. So in terms of sizing, it's 2 envelopes, 8 to 16, and then 18 to 26 on this pattern. Now, in terms of fabric, any type of fabric of your choosing, you could definitely see the back of the pattern envelope in order to see the fabrics, but it's basically any type of woven fabrics that you choose. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern is 9918 and 9919. So one is a missus pattern, the other one is a woman's pattern. So this is a missus dress with sleeve and length variations. The dress features a sweetheart neckline with a strap detail, elastic shoulder straps, a puffed or flutter sleeves, and back shearing, or I'm just gonna call it smocking, okay? So that's what you have going on at the back. The dress has a side seam pocket and invisible side zipper. This pattern also features cup sizes, you know, from A, B, C, and D cup sizes for sure. This is an average to sew pattern as well. So for this pattern, one thing I want to mention is this reminds me of a new look pattern in terms of the smocking or shearing in the back. I did a full sew along for a pattern that's similar to this, which is New Look 6692. I'll go ahead and put it up in order for you to see that. Now, I want to say that you will need some lining for this one. So if you have not seen that video, New Look 6692, for how to do kind of like that bodice is mainly what I was showing you what to do. You could go to that video linked in the description box below, as well as on the end screen in order to see that video as well. All right. But let's go ahead and get back into this one, 9918 and 9919. Let's talk about sizing. So in terms of sizing for this pattern, it's so the missus sizes is 2 envelopes, 4 to 12 and 12 to 20 on the second envelope. Now, in terms of the woman's size, which is 9919, you have 2 envelopes as well, 20 to 28W and 30 to 38W. In terms of fabric, any type of woven fabric, you can even use crepe, you can use linen, you can use cotton, whatever fabric that suits your fancy, just some form of woven fabric. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern is 9920. Now, this pattern right here is a missus dress with neckline and length variation. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, this pattern is rated as easy to sew. It's an easy to sew dress, has fitted bodice and an A-line shaped skirt with or without side slit. The dress features a stand neckline or jewel neckline, waist cutout, side pockets, and center back zipper closure. Now, one thing about this pattern is I like the fact that the back is closed. It does remind me of a New Look pattern. I can't think of the pattern number right off the top of my head. I don't want to say the wrong number, so I'm going to put it up on the screen. Now, this New Look pattern came out, I want to say last year in the spring. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before in the spring. And one thing with this pattern is the back is out. And it does have the cutout. It has like that bodice piece to or sewn to the skirt. So I do remember that. One thing I want to mention is 9920 have the complete back closed out. So it's just kind of like cut out on the side, which I like that, detail for this pattern. I will be picking up this pattern. I have the other one as well, but this is 9920. Let's talk about the sizing for the pattern envelope. So in terms of sizing, it's 2 envelopes, 6 to 14 and 16 to 24. In terms of fabric, any type of woven fabric of your choosing, linens, cottons, you name it, chambray, just to name a few that you can use. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern, which is 9921. So 9921 is a Mrs. Top with sleeve variation. Now this pattern is rated as easy to sew. It's a relaxed fit gathered top, features V neckline with long puff sleeves gathered into cuffs or short puff sleeves with the band. Now this one reminds me of a pattern that is a simplicity that's basically, I want to say about 5 years old. I don't remember the pattern number and I'm not going to go and search for it at the moment. For my girlies who's into patterns like I am, you could definitely drop it in the comment section below to let me know, because maybe I missed something here. But this is I'm on the fence, like straddling the fence on this one of if I would pick this up, to be honest with you. I need to see more. I wish I could see more of the pattern, like touch the pattern, see if I could. I mean, I'm looking at the line art and the style lines. It's not speaking to me right now, but y'all know when we get to Joann's, if there's a Joann's, that's a whole nother topic and conversation for a different day. But I need to see more. Like, I have to visualize it with the fabric in order to really tell you if I'll be picking this pattern up or not. But this is 9921. In terms of sizing for the pattern envelope, you have 2 sizes, 8 to 16 and 18 to 26 on the second pattern. In terms of fabric, now remind you that this one you will need some sheer fabric, and then you'll also need kind of like your lining fabric, which can be cotton fabric. You can use chemise for this one as well, just to name a couple of fabrics that you can use. But definitely look at the back of the pattern envelope in terms of notions and fabric for what you are wanting to do if you are wanting to get this pattern. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern is 9922, which is a Mrs. Corset pattern. Let's get into it. So this pattern is a Mrs. Corset pattern, an average to sew pattern. It is a slim fit corset, has the square neckline. Of course, you're going to need boning. It features a side zipper closure and contrast variation. Now, this corset can be made with or without straps and has optional ties in the back of this corset. Now, for me, I'm not a girly who loves corset. I really don't like boning, to be honest with you. So this is a pattern that I will be passing on. Now, for my girlies who are into costumes or they love corset and stuff like that, this may be for you, okay, for sure. But just for me, I want to, like I said, 2024 is a year that I will be intentional with picking up patterns. Yes, I love patterns, but at the same time, I want to pick up patterns that I know I can see myself making within a 5-year time frame. It's just, I'm to the point where I have a really big pattern stash and I want to downsize it to only keep those patterns that I could still see myself making. All right. But this is 9922. Let's go ahead and get into sizing. So for this pattern, it's 2 pattern envelopes, 6 to 14 and 16 to 24 on the second envelope. So in terms of fabric, what we need, you can use satin, you can use cotton, you can use whatever fabric of your choosing in order to get this corset. All right, Let's go ahead and move into the next one, which is $99.23. Now, this one is a pair of pants. Let's get into it. So it's an easy to sew pair of pants. Okay, now I'm going to laugh a little bit because anytime you're doing a fly front zipper, anytime you're doing pants, normally it's not easy to sew. I don't care how much they say that a pair of pants is easy to sew. I'm going to say pair of pants are not easy to sew. Now, in terms of if you have been sewing for a little while, it may be easy. Like if it was elastic pants, it may be rated as easy. But if you're doing like a pair of pants, because one thing about pants is you have to fit pants. So it's not always easy to sew. But I think in terms of sewing the pants together and the instructions, that's what they're rating as easy to sew. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this is a pair of pants or shorts, easy to sew, for misses, which features large shaped pockets, optional contrast top stitch, back darts, and zipper closure. Now view A are your shorts, and it's like long shorts or Bermuda style shorts. View B is your cropped pair of pants, and then view C is your longer view for the pants as well. As I mentioned, it states that it's easy to sew. Let's talk about pattern sizing. So for this pattern, you have two pattern envelopes, 8 to 16 and then 18 to 26 on the second envelope. Now I like these pants. I think I would do the full length view because it does look to me like it's more of a wide leg pants. And you guys know I love a wide leg pant. So this is a pattern that I will be picking up. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern is $99.24, which features a cargo style skirt. Now in early spring, they feature $98.91, which is a cargo style skirt, but that one featured an elastic waist. This one has a waistband. I picked up the last one and I'm thinking of making that skirt. However, I think this one might be a pass, but we're going to see. We're going to see. Let's get into it. So this is $99.24. This is a mid-rise cargo mini skirt, which of course I will make that skirt not mini, make it more like to my knees where I'm comfortable because I can't be bending over and everything fly up. I just can't do that. Now this mini skirt features pockets variation that have optional tie belt, back darts, fly front zipper, and button closure. This is rated as an average to sew pattern for sure. In terms of pattern sizing, it's two envelopes, 6 to 14, and then 16 to 24 on that second envelope. Me personally, I like the views on this pattern. I've been seeing a lot of cargo. You guys know I love cargo pants, but cargo skirts, I don't know. I'm kind of like on the fence for cargo skirts. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know about these cargo skirts, but I could definitely get with cargo pants. Cargo skirts, I don't know. I'm just going to put it like that. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern, which is $99.25. So for $99.25, it is a wardrobe style pattern. You guys know I love these wardrobe style patterns, but this may be one that I might be passing on. It is $99.25. So it's a Mrs. Pant knit shrug and a top. It's rated as easy to sew. Now it does state that this pattern is rated from in terms of sizing, 6 to 24, which means it's two pattern envelopes. All right. So the top is a one shoulder top with elastic at the neckline. It has bands at the armholes and a hem. Relaxed fit shrug, which is view B. View C is your pair of pants, which are wide leg pants with couture waist, seaming details, and back pockets. Now, when they say seaming details, what that is basically the top stitching that you see on the front from the line art. I'm going to put the line art up, but you see that in the front. That is what they're calling seaming details, which is kind of like top stitching, which it could be like a pin tuck or something like that in the front of your pant pattern. All right. So that's what that is. All right. So that is $99.25. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern is a pattern that I will definitely be picking up. It's a Mrs. top and pair of pants. It is $99.26. It is a crew neck top with cape elements, have 3/4 length sleeves, high-low hem, and a keyhole back opening with button closure. Let me stop right here. You guys know I can't stand button closures in the back, so I will probably opt to do some ties. I have done a video on how I draft ties and put them on the back of my top when I have a keyhole opening. Okay, I just don't like that feature, but of course, if you like it, by all means do so. All right, now this pattern features floor length pants, have front pleats. So you're going to be doing pleats at the front of the pants. It also features side seam pockets, a fly front zipper, and waistband with a belt loop and button closure. Now this is rated as easy to sew. Easy to sew. Okay. Did you guys not hear me say that this features a fly front zipper? I know a lot of people are put off with pants that have fly front zipper. I did a complete sew along on how to do a fly front zipper in less than 10 minutes. All right. So I'll drop that in the description box below in order for you to see it. I'll put it up on the screen so you're able to see that as well. So if you pick up any pattern that have a fly front zipper, you can always go to that video and do it as easily as possible. All right. You're welcome. All right. Let's talk about the pattern sizing. So in terms of the pattern sizing for this pattern, it's 2 envelopes, 10 to 18 and 20W to 28W for this pattern. In terms of fabric, any type of fabric of your choosing, like I mentioned before, look at the back of the pattern envelope and it'll give you an idea of, I always call it suggested fabric. Now, because I've been sewing for a while, sometimes I don't go with the fabrics that they suggest on the back of the pattern envelope, all right? And you will get there. If you are new to the whole fabric situation, I would say definitely go by suggested fabrics. But of course, someday, one day, you will get there and start just choosing whatever fabric that you want. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern is 9927. It's a Mrs. Corset pants and skirt pattern. Now, I like the pants for this pattern. However, I will be passing on simply because I could use a different pattern to do the pants and just add a waistband. I did a sew along for a pattern that features this style of pants, which was Butterick 6718. I have a complete sew along for all the views on that pattern. All right. Let's go ahead and get into this pattern, 9927. So this pattern is an average to sew pattern. It's a lined corset with sweetheart neckline. It have boning, curved hemline or peplum details, optional ties, and zipper closure. The corset can be made with or without straps. Now, in terms of the pants are fitted and the skirt is also fitted. It have back darts, invisible side seam zipper, and side pockets for sure. Let's talk about the pattern sizing. So in terms of pattern sizing, it's 8 to 16 and then 18 to 26 on that second pattern. Now, for me, I'm not a girl that could go braless, but you guys know I just stated that I am not a girl who likes corset because I do not like that boning or anything like right here. I just feel like the boning is always cutting me on the sides, in the front, like literally like with bras, I take out all that underwiring stuff and just go without. So, I mean, that's just me, okay? Okay, I'm giving y'all a little TMI, but you guys are here with me now. I mean, we friends now, all right? But this is 9927. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. The next pattern is 9928, and yes, 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 I will be picking this pattern up. If you guys remember when I did, just last year, a couple of months ago, I did a collection entitled Work From Home or Loungewear Collection. And this pattern right here, my friend, you could put in that collection. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this pattern is 9928. It's an easy to sew pattern. It features a lounge top, pants, and shorts. So this pattern right here, the top is a loose fitting top with deep V neck opening. It has length and sleeve variations for that. Long sleeves with like a white cuff, or you could do the short sleeves like you see in view B. And the short sleeve features a ruffle at the bottom. Now, in terms of view C and D, view C are your pants and view D are your shorts. Both of those features an elastic waistband with front ties as well. Let's talk about the sizing of this pattern. It comes in one pattern envelope, extra small to extra, extra large. So that is this pattern. I like this. For me, I would do exactly what you see on the pattern envelope, view A and C, which is your top and your pants. In terms of the shorts, I don't know. I don't know if I would do that because I would make this pattern more kind of like something that I could wear out of the house instead of just some lounge wear to wear inside the house. I don't think we just make lounge wear just to lounge in the house. I want to wear my items outside the house as well, all right? But this is $99.28. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern, which is $99.29, which is a Mimi G pattern. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the next pattern, it's $99.29, which is Mimi G's pattern, which is the Mrs. and Women's Lounge Set pattern. Mimi G and Brittany J. Jones are on this pattern. Exciting, all right? So this pattern is an easy to sew pattern. It is a pullover drape top with front shoulder pleats. It have white waistband and flang, or I guess you call it flang. I don't know, but I know my girlies. I'm gonna say the word police who's out there, she will correct me. And you guys listen to this. Correcting me on something that I said, I don't mind that, but you know, like, let's do it constructive. Okay. So definitely I am not French. You guys can see that. Like, I do not know French words. Now, do I have roots that's French? Yes, but I don't speak French or whatever. So a lot of these words, it's more like, you know, I'm pronouncing them the best that I can. Okay. All right. So it features a flang sleeve. It has like a relaxed fit crop pants and have elastic waistband with the ties at the front and patch pockets for sure. Now, I like this pattern, but the pants remind me of her previous pattern, which is Simplicity 8858. I have made the shorts. I have made the pants. I have made the jacket multiple times. In terms of that jacket, I have made it 3 times. In terms of the cropped pants, I have made those 3 times, and I have made the shorts twice. So that pattern, I have like 3 copies of the pattern. Okay. And I made this, the last time I made the jacket, it was when I did the Paris collection. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and drop that in the description box below, put it up on the screen so you're able to see that as well. But I did the jacket Simplicity 8558 then, and then in terms of the pants, not the pants, but the shorts, I did that when I did #Sew Purple to NALZ. I want to say about 2-ish years ago in 2022. So I did that then for, like a purple jacket and a pair of shorts for Simplicity 8558. So this pattern, $99.29, it reminds me of that pattern in terms of the pants, but I'm still going to pick it up, so I don't care. But you're going to possibly need some knit fabric for this one. Now, you can use knit, but you can use wovens for this pattern as well. So you can use either or, all right? But it's a $99.29. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern is $99.30. Now, you guys know I normally do not share a lot of teen patterns or doll patterns or accessory patterns. But this pattern is one that I will be picking up. It's $99.30 because it is a family style 2-piece set. So you have the blazer and then you have your shorts. My family, okay, so first of all, my son, he's all about blazers and button-down shirts and stuff like that. My daughter, she likes blazers too, but she does not have a blazer in her closet right now. And you know, Easter is around the corner. Am I gonna make it? I'm gonna tell you this, Joanne's not gonna have the patterns out before Easter, which is on the 31st of March this year. So I will probably have to keep this pattern for next year so they could definitely do Easter photos with blazers and shorts. I think that would be amazing and cute. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this pattern. So this is rated as an easy to sew pattern. Now, this is basically an easy to sew blazer and shorts, like I just mentioned, for the whole family. You can match in coordinating fabric, or you can use all the same fabric for this one. So in terms of the jacket or the blazer, it's oversized with a button front with long or short sleeves. It have the notch collar and patch pockets, but of course you can make that optional if you do not want the pockets. The shorts have a fly front zipper and button closure And of course, you have the side seam pockets. Like I mentioned before, it's rated as easy to sew. In terms of pattern sizing, now for this one, I don't know if it's going to make you pick up 2 pattern envelopes, one for children, one for adult, or if all the pattern sizing is included in one envelope. Now, looking at this, it looks like you're only going to need to pick up 1 envelope and all the sizes will be included in that envelope. So just letting you know that. But in terms of the children's size, it features extra small to large. And for adult sizes, it's extra small to extra large. All right. So I will be picking up this pattern. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. So the next pattern is Norris Fort pattern. Also another loungewear piece that you can put in that loungewear collection if you've been keeping up with the patterns that I told you there. It's a Norris Fort pattern. I will definitely be passing on this one because, I mean, it's a robe, tank, and a pair of pants or shorts. Now, this is a whole wardrobe, but for me, I don't work from home. And of course, my husband's not going to wear it, right? So with that being said, I'm going to skip out on this one, but this one you can use knits for this pattern. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So this pattern is a comfy and stylish loungewear set for men. Norris Fort created this pattern. It's basically a robe, tank top, pants, and shorts, oversized robe that have the drop shoulder sleeves and a belt. Now for the pants, it's pull-on pants or shorts that have the elastic waistband and side pockets. In terms of the pattern sizing for this one, 2 envelopes. I'm sorry, not 2 envelopes, 1 envelope, small to extra, extra large for this pattern. Once again, it's $99.31. Moving over to the next one. Now this one, I'm going to be picking up for the tote, but this pattern is $99.35, which is the tote and pickleball cover up. Okay. A paddle cover. So do I know how to play pickleball? Yes, I do. However, I don't play it as much as I did back in the days when I was a teenager. Okay. Middle school and teenager, yes, I played pickleball a little bit, but I'm not getting it for that. I just like the style of the tote, so that's what I would be picking it up for. But let's go ahead and get into this pattern, $99.35. So this pattern features 2 back shapes, are perfect as totes, or you could do like a pickleball bag. Now view A and view B are open at the top with the D-ring at the side, and they are adjustable crossbody straps that you have for view A and view B. In terms of view C and D, it have the zipper opening, side pockets, and hook and loop tape for the strap covers. And then the paddle cover has the D-rings that attach to the tote in view B and D, which have that swivel clasp for sure. Now, view D and E are your tote bags that features the pickleball paddle cover, but you do not have to do that. Now, me personally, I like view A, but if I do view C, which is the tote, I wouldn't put the paddle on there. Now, I know how to play racquetball as well, so I don't know. I think I would pick this up more like for the tote, but not necessarily for the cover. All right. But yes, this is $99.35, and this is a one-size-fit-all pattern. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. So the next pattern is $99.36, which is a backpack, purse, and bag pattern. Now this one, I just like the backpack, but I think I'm going to pass on this pattern because I do have other patterns that are backpack patterns, but it's an easy to sew pattern. I'm going to put it up on the screen. And this one features like a backpack, a crossbody bag is what this pattern features. I have done a crossbody bag sew along already. I have done a backpack pattern as well. I might pick this up for my children, but once again, it's $99.36 to keep this light. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. And of course, in terms of sizing, it's a one size fit all. Next pattern is $99.37, which is a hat, tote bag, and zipper case. Now, this pattern right here, I'm going to pause right here and let you guys know. This pattern right here reminds me of when I did Simplicity 9580 is the pattern number. Once again, let me say that. It's Simplicity 9580. That pattern features a tote as well as a sun hat. Now I did a full sew along for the sun hat. Now in terms of the tote, it's so many patterns I can mention off for the tote to save you some coins, all right? Now, in terms of the zipper case, listen, you could like go to your stash and find a cosmetic bag or zipper case that you can do. Because this pattern right here is basically like so many patterns is what I'm gonna say. Now, if you go to Simplicity website, I already emailed Simplicity after the drop, like literally 5 minutes after the drop. And I emailed them to let them know that the line art is $99.27 instead of $99.37. So they are aware of that. And whoever is controlling the Simplicity website will be updating that line art for you as well. But once again, this is $99.37. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. So the next pattern is $99.42, which is an apron pattern. Now, to be honest with you, I'm going to not pick this pattern up, but I did look at the line art where I am going to be hacking a pattern that I already have. Now, this is a kitchen accessories pattern. It features like apron, it features like a mitt, it features a bowl holder, and it features kind of like your placemat holders. Now, what I like about this pattern is the placemats, okay? And for the placemat, I like the fact that you have kind of like a, kind of like patch work kind of per se, that you can use some scrap fabric in order to create that placemat, all right? So I like the fact of that, but I don't want to pick up the pattern just for that when I could just hack a square pattern that I have. It's actually giving you the dimensions of the square. So with that being said, you're just going to have to draw some lines, add some seam allowance of 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and get you the same thing without having to spend minimum $2 for the pattern, all right? All right, well, those are all the patterns that's featured in the Simplicity Spring 2024 drop. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know which ones were your favorite, which ones will you be picking up in the comment section below. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and since you made it this far, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button, also smash that notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. So I'll catch you in the next video, and as always, keep sewing.